Welcome to Into Search. I'm Scott Sanders, your host, and this is your one-stop shop for all your speedy reviews and your detailed how-tos. Today is a how-to. We're going to do the Coleman CT 200U. I stored it. It starts great. It's always good about one pull starts. And then I stored it for like 6-7 months and pulled it back out and it quit. Now, normally the first thing most people think is, oh, were you putting it right? So when you're doing the switch, the bottom is off. You click it, top is on. Then you have your thing on choke. So your choke's on to the left, gas on to the right. Then you should be able to pull it. Now when you pull it, once it starts, you can flip the choke straight on to run, and it should run easy. But when I pulled it out, it didn't do that. And I'm like, okay, well, there's a connection up front for the spark. It didn't happen. And you're like, oh, try the spark plug. But it's so new, why would it go out? But you can get a faulty one, right? Spark plug's right back here. You pull that off, and you use, what was it, a 5/8? But you need a deep socket to pull that off. That could possibly be it. But everybody kept trying to check it. Well, maybe it's bad gas. So if you do put it in storage, get some stable fill. I'm not sponsored by anybody, so there's nobody here except for stuff that's just helpful for you. But put some of this in it. On the back side, it goes 1 to 10 on ounces. You put 1 ounce in anything you're doing, a lawnmower, this, you treat it a whole tank, and it'll keep it for like 2 years. So you don't have to worry about the gas going bad. But that wasn't the problem. So I started talking to other people, and everybody's like, oh, well, try this and try this and try that. Took off the carburetor, cleaned the hell out of it. That wasn't it either. Still wouldn't start. So started brainstorming, went to some of my mechanic friends. This is how simple it is. And this is the problem you're looking for. You take your screws off, 10 millimeter socket. Make sure these are pointing towards you. Pull this off. Everybody in other videos are taking this off. This is the air filter. You don't need to take this off. But if you do take this off, it helps you to start it. You can put some cheater in there, which helps start you. Take that wing nut off. You can spray directly down in it once you're done to try to get it to start up if it's been a while. Now, keep yourself a plate or a bag so that way you can keep all your parts and components there. So you take this whole housing off all by itself. Now, there is a connection right here that goes to the main frame. You got to take that off. It's pretty much exhaust and stuff. Now, in here, you can see that this, the throttle of it, this is your choke. So this has a little pin that goes in it. There's a little tiny wire. You're going to pull this forward. Stab myself. You take that one off, you pop that out, and this whole thing slides forward. Now getting it back in, you want to try to make sure it ducks under that little metal piece. But yeah, you take those pieces off. Now it's the fuel line. All you need to do is crimp that fuel line off, stuff it with something. You could put a plate or a cup underneath it and drain all the fluid out, but just stick something in it that's going to make it hold. I'm just going to use a Phillips screwdriver. All right, so get yourself some pliers to pinch this and pull it up, and then you just need to stuff it with something. So take that up, and when you pull it off, stuff that back in, pull it back down. Now you get a little gas on you, you probably should be wearing gloves. Make sure you have safety and wearing some kind of eye protective gear. I've done this too many times where I don't think I need it. Probably a bad idea. All right, and gas evaporates really quick, so when you're done, you want to try to clean this up, paper towel or whatever. All right, so now that you clamped off the gas, this just slides straight forward. You want to take that off and leave it up top. You have a gasket on the back side. I'm taking it off right here, but I don't need to. Probably just leave it on. You want to make sure that that little loop is sitting at the top right. Now, you can pour the rest of the gas out of this, which the gas line comes through here and it flows into this chamber. Now you can see it says on and off. When it's on, there's just 2 dots in here. If I took this off, there'd be 2 holes, and those 2 holes allow it to go into this bulb. This bulb feeds into here. So the fuel makes it into here through a needle. Now that needle has a floater like a toilet. If you've ever seen the backside of a toilet, there's a floater in it, and as it fills up, it pushes the needle down. It's on a hinge pin, which we'll show you. But it's that needle that is all cluttered and got gunk on it. I cleaned out this whole carburetor and this bulb, put it back together, and didn't fire. I'm like, God damn, what is wrong with it? But we're about to show you that. So we're gonna cut it off so no more can get in there. Still using the 10 millimeter. You want to take off this center one. This one's for draining it. Sometimes this won't have gas. If it doesn't have gas, while it's still plugged in, you don't need to take none of the housing off. You can reach that with a 10 millimeter. You just open it up till gas starts pouring out and then pop it back in. But if gas doesn't pour out of there, you probably found your problem with what we're doing here right now. So a little dirty, probably could clean it. So this is what we're talking about. This is the float. Now this is a pin right here. You take this pin out and this float comes up. You see this little back metal piece right here, this top piece right here? See how it's going up and down? Mine wouldn't. So you see those little springs in there. You just take yourself a flathead. That's all we did, because this part's like 10 bucks. So you take yourself a flathead, you wedge it underneath it, and you pry it up. And once you get it up. Now if I take this pin out, make it easier, let's just go ahead and show you. This is what gets dirty. See, it's already starting to get a little gunk on it. When that cakes up, fluid doesn't flow into your carburetor. So that is the problem you've been looking for. Yes, you are welcome. Put that back in. Put your hinge pin back in. Clean it all out really good. Now, if you clean it out, you can use brake cleaner, carburetor cleaner. We're just gonna use brake cleaner. But I've already cleaned it all out a day ago, and I figured why not show y'all. So when fluid gets in here, it fills this up. As it fills that up, lifts it up, more gas gets in there, it drops down, it shuts it off. But that pin is why it's not working. It took me a month to figure that out. Tried everything, gas, spark plug, everything, and everybody's like, no, we'll try this too. Nobody can figure that part out. It's that pin. You fix that pin, you'll be starting this up in one pull again. So get your screw back in. It's still in the off position. Slide it back on. Make sure this pops back on your choke. You get it on this boot and then on that top part. Can you see that? You just got to put it on there, and that pin goes down in there. So there. Now you see it, if it opens that door, you're good. Now you want to get this tucked under there and then put your gas back on. Man hands. Now, if you get an excessive amount of gas all over the place, let it sit before you try to start it. Gas evaporates at accelerated rates, so you just want to let it sit for like 20-30 minutes, then come back out, wipe it down, let it sit again. Safety first, even though I'm not practicing none of that right now. All right, got your gas back on. Remember, put this metal rod back in. Drops down, then you got to hit this little tiny one right there. Then you push it back. Make sure the gasket's sitting good. Then you can put your whole housing back on. When you put your whole housing on, remember, you need the exhaust tube back on. So slide it on a little bit. Make sure these are all pointing at you again, or else it won't go on. It slides on. Connect the exhaust hose. Then your screws off your plate or your plastic bag. And you want it on there pretty tight because that gasket in the back needs to be sealed off. That way you don't have to take off everything else everybody's taking out. Again, if it's been a long time since you sit it, you can put some cheap hairspray in there. It's ready to go. I'm gonna wipe it down, let it sit 20-30 minutes, and we'll give her a crank. All right, so it's been about 15-20 minutes. Remember, up is on, put it in choke, fuel is on, and she started right back up. Take it off the choke, and you got yourself a running vehicle. Need to tighten that so you can have it. All right, thanks for stopping by Into Search. If you like this video, you think I deserve it, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you take your thumb and slide the subscribe button to the left, you get 20 free videos. Follow me. It's free. Thanks for stopping by. And remember, in the end, it's not the years in your life that matter, but the life in your years. Abraham Lincoln.